The House is in the Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union for the consideration of H.R. 2609, which the clerk will report by title.
A bill making appropriations for energy and water development and related agencies for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2014, and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the bill is considered read the first time. The gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Frelinghuysen, and the gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Capter, each will control 30 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey.
Mr. Chairman, I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
Gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
It's my honor to bring the fiscal year 2014 Energy and Water Development Bill before the membership of the House. However, before I go through its highlights, I'd like to thank my ranking member, Ms. Capter, for her partnership on this bill and hard work and friendship. It's been a real honor to work with you, and I look forward to working with you to get through the entire process. And Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to thank all the members of our committee on both sides of the aisle for putting this bill so quickly together and so responsibly. I'd also like to recognize the hard work of Chairman Rogers and Ranking Member Lowy to bring this bill and several others before it to the floor under an open rule. The bill for fiscal year 2014 totals $30.4 billion, 2.9 below last year's levels, and more than $4 billion below the President's request. The budget allocation we received this year made for some very difficult decisions, but in our bipartisan tradition, we worked hard to incorporate priorities and perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Mr. Chairman, the House is not in order.
The gentleman is correct. The committee will be in order. The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, we place the greatest priority on national defense, our nuclear deterrent, also the critical work of the Army Corps of Engineers and other activities on which the federal government must take the lead. The reductions we had to make to the applied energy and research and development programs will shift more of their work to the private sector. The bill provides $7.6 billion, an increase of $98 million above the fiscal year 2013 amount, to modernize the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile and support its infrastructure, excluding rescissions. I would also like to note that the recommendation contains no funding to implement the President's recently announced plans in Berlin to reduce the nuclear stockpile. No funding for such purposes will be available until Congress has judged that these plans will fully support our national defense. The recommendation increases the Corps of Engineers by $50 million above the President's request and redirects funds to ensure our waterways and harbors keep America open for business and economically competitive. These waterways and harbors handled foreign commerce valued at more than $1.7 trillion last year alone. As in previous fiscal years, the bill maintains the constitutional role of Congress in the appropriations process by ensuring that all worthy Corps of Engineers projects have a chance to compete for funding. Basic science programs total $4.7 billion, just above last year's post-sequestration levels. Environmental cleanup programs to address the legacy of the Manhattan Project and other contaminated sites are funded at $5.5 billion, approximately $185 million above the post-sequester levels for fiscal year 2013. In order to find room for the bill's core priorities, applied energy and research and development had to be cut. The recommendation prioritizes funding in this area for programs which truly support American manufacturing jobs, stable energy prices, and diversity of energy supplies. Our bill includes $450 million for fossil energy technologies and $650 million for nuclear energy activities. Both of these programs are cut below the fiscal year 2013 post-sequester level. The bill combines the electricity delivery program and the energy efficiency and renewable energy program and provides $983 million for these activities, excluding rescissions. The recommendation also orients these programs to focus on electricity infrastructure resilience, to include cybersecurity and gasoline prices. And finally, on Yucca Mountain, Our recommendation includes $25 million to sustain the program, along with similar language as last year's, prohibiting activities that would keep that facility from being usable in the future. It also includes support for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to get that Yucca license application finally finished. No funding is included for requested activities to move past Yucca Mountain Repository Program. If and when Congress authorizes changes to the program of record, the committee will consider funding for alternatives. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill recognizes our fiscal realities. It makes the tough decisions to ensure we get our spending under control without sacrificing our most critical of federal function. I'm expecting a vigorous and open debate during an open process over the coming days so all can have a chance to contribute to this legislation. Before I reserve the balance of my time, I want to thank those who helped bring this bill to the floor. On the majority side, our clerk, Rob Blair, Angie DiCarlo, Ben Hammond, Lorraine Heckenberg, Perry Yates, Adam Borelli. On the minority side, Tanya Burkham. From our personal offices, Ms. Captors, Nathan Facey, her Deputy Chief of Staff, and Ryan Steyer. From my staff, Nancy Fox, my Chief of Staff, and Katie Hazlett. All of these individuals and others behind the scenes make this process work, one that we can be proud of, and I think we have a bill that indeed we can be proud of, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman from New Jersey reserves the balance of his time. Gentlewoman